It's been quite an interesting week, a week of very many things happening in the Republic. But before we move into our topics, I want to introduce the greatest panel you'll ever have. On this half, the legend, the myth, the showbiz don, myself, CEO Charles Otieno. And of course, the intellectual, the doctor, the showbiz
Don, Professor, right?
All of them.
Yeah.
and Dr. C,
The winemaker.
the winemaker. And as I move on to the most reserved, quiet, cool, calm, collected, beautiful lady in the house, Maria Nyambani.
Bright as yellow.
And the noisiest man in the room
I left my
takes no prisoners
Yes.
Yeah.
and says it as it is.
We must.
Simon says.
Thank you so much, CEO. I love that intro, by the way. I love that intro. Hey, well done. I love that intro.
Can you pour
Yes.
some wine?
Oh, sure thing, sure thing. I must oblige, please.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I must. What am I pouring? Please tell me.
This is the Samantha Red.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Exactly. And what should people take this with?
This one, it's mainly good with the pastas,
Yeah.
fish meals, not too heavily spiced food because you want to feel the taste. Yeah, and just to remind the viewers, it's a product of Spain, Kenyan brand. Yeah, and it's available in all your wine retail stores, Carrefour, Chandarana, Quick Mart, a lot of the leading hotels. It's available. Build Kenya. We have to build strong Kenyan brands.
All right, cheers to that. Cheers to
Cheers.
Yes.
that. Yeah, exactly.
And Maria, where is your book?
Yes,
As
cheers.
you drink your wine,
I'm a marriage is no longer a scam.
It's still a scam.
I'm
as
talking
you
of
drink your wine, you read your book.
It's still a scam, yes. Oh, I think the reason why the book is not here is because I'm in the process of bringing something bigger. So
Okay.
you guys have
yeah,
Which
because
is?
I was in a supermarket and I saw your other books. That one was not there, so
Yeah, it's sold out.
it's sold out. It's so good, by the
Hey,
way.
but marriage is a very
talking-
interesting thing. Abu, tell us about
Yeah,
this
this
story.
is about this
Hey,
wedding.
what's
Yes.
going on?
If you're married now, let's talk about that.
Talking of marriages, last weekend, CEO, I saw you
Where?
in a chopper. Yeah. So this has been billed as the wedding of the year. Choppers, fashion. How many jeeps?
There were very many jeeps.
Very many jeeps,
Range Rovers.
all cars, food, everything there is to be.
In
The
plenty.
social media is flooded with, I don't think people, for a moment, we forgot the troubles we have in Kenya.
We forgot impeaching
People
and
should
Adani.
marry often.
Yes, for a moment, actually, Bolo's wedding
Yeah.
was trending on social media at #1.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it beat impeachment. So clearly one could see the money. I mean, you don't get to do that if you don't have the money. I have heard it said on social media. One of the things some people are saying, mtaachana tu, mtaachana. So today I want you guys we answer the question. Is it true the more you spend, the more you're likely to separate?
Let me start.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
I think you
ahead.
need to drink to that.
Go ahead.
You know one thing, you should understand that as Kenyans, we are so angry right now.
Why?
A lot of things are happening. So if you show us that, what we are seeing is the negative side of that marriage now. We are like, we are telling you that because surely some of us decided we do come, we stay because you couldn't feed 20 people. So people will come up with comments like those because of the position at which they are at. If marriage was meant to work, it will work. If it was meant to end, it will end. And most importantly, if you don't work on it, it ends. But most of the time, people saying Tachana too comes from a point of you are showing off too much, yet marriages do end. They're not saying this one's what Tachana. We are not there yet. Another thing I would say about this wedding is the crowd it had, the who is who was there. And we all know we have Harambe groups. We have Chama groups. We have WhatsApp birthday groups. I heard that, actually, which is wrong. We have WhatsApp baby shower groups. So if it comes to this one, tell me, surely, the people that you saw in the wedding, if all of them decided to contribute, then they would do a big wedding. It's who you know at the end of the day. Who you know matters too. In as much as you have money, who do you know? Because if you don't know people who have money, and that's why you find that if you look at people like, let me use myself as an example. At the time I was getting married, I was young, and the crowd I had at that time, if I take the same crowd and take my wedding and do the same wedding with the same crowd, it will be totally different. Because right now they are established, their lives have grown. Right now there are people who have businesses, who are working, who are big. But I did my wedding when they were starting out, just like I was starting out. The finances I had at that time are not the same finances I will say I have right now. So at the same time, you look at the crowd you have. I will encourage people. Okay, I'm the one person who wrote Marriage is a Scam, and I tell people, always know the person you're going to stay with, because sometimes that is a risk of ending the marriage prematurely or ending the marriage later in life. But at the same time, I'm the one who is going to say this: establish yourself and know people if you're going to ever get married. So if you're getting married, get the right circle.
I mean, as one of the members of the Broke Men Association.
Oh, no.
Don't send that into the universe.
As one of the members, I would even say, is when it comes to weddings, it's very important to note, even as a man, that weddings are primarily, yes, for the women. And even looking at the nitty-gritties, even focusing on that, even the videos, it's mostly women who are like in detail. The men are looking at it like, okay, that was nice for like a few seconds, and you move on with your life. Because as a man, what you have to take note is when you put in when you sing a wedding like that, the standard for you and your brokenness has been set. And at the same time, you are and you also have to take note that expectations for even the person that you're with, they're kind of like even mentally even set, so on and so forth. But even going further, yes, the hostility of China too, that's just poverty breeds out of your mouth. And then it vomits out as hate and jealousy. And people can smell it from far. And CEO can even smell it all the way over there on his chest. And that's true. Yeah. And that's very common. And you just have to understand that it comes from that end. But even going further, even when it comes to even the marriage aspect, hey, if they don't stay together, those China two people, they will come laughing at you and pointing fingers at you. That's the bad aspect of going public with your wedding, in the sense that if anything rocky hits, not if anything, it's when
it hits.
When it happens, people will now come out and say, but you guys spent so much, whatever, and they'll come up in that way. But even going further, even marriages, this may be even one of the reasons why even many us members of the Broke People Association may not want to get married, because this now looks at it. Hey, these weddings are expense. Weddings are an expense for us. And I view it like, why would I want to put myself in this situation where I'm spending so much for something that may not even last, in situations where I have to put out so much effort for the maintenance, because I've already set the standard with such a flamboyant wedding. So if you're too broke for a flamboyant wedding, I said, it has to set the standard so low for your wedding, so that now your marriage, you're able to budget it very nicely. And even as Maria said, you slowly increase it, and then maybe do a nice 10-year anniversary, and then make that flamboyant. I'll actually even say, make the 10-year anniversary more flamboyant than that first year, because clocking even that 10-year is actually a sign of that you guys are putting work and you guys are putting effort, and that's now a sign, even something, even I think everybody will be more than happy to say, and yeah, Simon and his wife has reached 10 years. Let's give them a round of applause, and I'm happy when they're able to spend it in flamboyant.
You know what, Simon? My 10 years is in 4 years' time. After 300,000, I'm 500.
No, I'm not giving you anything, so you have your own money.
CEO.
Go ahead.
I have to make it flamboyant. That's the trend.
CEO, what happened in that wedding? Would tell us.
Well, I think, first of all, Bolo Bespoke is my friend, so we decided to support our brother and our friend with the wife, beautiful Mueni. We call her Abebo for a very long time. And I would understand.
She's Abebo?
Yes, I would understand where Bolo would do such a wedding. Is because they started from very low, and they've lived together for 9 years, waiting to make this thing a big issue. Secondly, it is important to note that his and the wife, they are fashion designers. So that wedding also is a way of marketing your attires and people who come for your wedding dressed in the outfit. If you take that money and the celebrities and the people who went there, and all of them dress in their outfits, which you have done,
It's a big ad campaign.
it's a big ad campaign. So Bolo was looking at this thing as a wedding, but also as a marketing campaign for, right now, everyone is speaking about it. If he was going to market his outfit, Bolo Bespoke City, he would have costed him more than what he would have done. So he actually struck this wedding as a way also to show his work, which he did, because you could see those outfits. The bride's long dress was fantastically done, and you can look at the grooms and the maids, they were well dressed. And us who stepped there, we knew that it was going, because it's a designer's wedding, we had to step out in style.
What did you wear?
Myself,
Yeah.
my local jeans, a white top.
Your what jeans? You actually went in jeans?
Of course, yes.
Why would you do that?
I'm simply.
Why would you go to an event in jeans?
But because my appearance was more important.
Yeah, he gave his time.
Does he give him a lecture? Go ahead, give him a lecture. Give him a
No,
lecture.
I'll
Go
talk
ahead,
about
go
it
ahead.
later. It's just you don't wear jeans to a wedding. So that's not what we are talking about. I wanted to ask, did he not make for you a dress?
No, I didn't
No,
want
no,
to.
sorry, a shirt, an
A
outfit.
shirt. No, I had an outfit.
And you wore jeans.
Continue, CEO.
He also landed in style. He decided to land in style.
Okay, so
But
you
I
are,
landed in style. Didn't you see?
He landed in style.
I saw.
surprised
It's just
people.
that in a plane like that.
You know, when Dr. C starts talking about dress code and not honoring, Dr. C,
Dr. C,
Dr. C
I
not
was the
honoring
only
dress
one
code.
with Gorse Melango who appeared last in the biggest chopper.
Oh, you are with the Gorse Melago.
Only
that
two
was
of
the
us.
best outfit you made.
2 people in a big chopper for 10 people.
Okay.
Okay, the base.
best outfit.
Anyway, endelea.
Continue. Tell us more.
So for me, I think Bolo's wedding has been, people are playing it out of context. One, he was going to honor his wife. He did it very well. And in our cultural aspect where we come from, marriage is a beautiful thing. Spend if you can. If you don't spend. And no one forces you to go and marry a woman and spend a lot of money. But if you have it and you have friends, because some of us who were in that WhatsApp group, we know there are friends who contributed. We know the event organizer, Vincent Opar, who was part of the organization, who did a lot of work behind the scenes. What this shows us that you must have friends who can stand by you as well. And you must have a good group of people who are supporting you. So people might be looking and throwing words here and there, but it is good. But in Kenya, you should remember there have been 3 good weddings which I have attended. Nameless and Wahu's wedding in Lake Naivasha was fantastic.
How long ago was that?
2000 and something, 7 or 8, I can't
2005.
and 5, yes. Fantastically done. Jared Otieno's wedding in Meru, all the choppers landed in Meru. CMB Prezo's wedding in Marula Mana was fantastic.
And I gave them
Did
the
that
horse
last?
carriage.
Did that last?
It didn't last, but these are some of the weddings.
No, it's not about lasting.
It's
It's,
not about-
about
but
the
it's the
effort you
moment.
make, the moment.
So Bolo's
Continue.
wedding plays in that role where we come and sit and enjoy and say, wow, you've done something. And it's also set standard. Remember, Dr. C here has been a weddings organizer. It gives people work, it gives people opportunities, and it's good for us.
Yeah, when people are spending that amount of money, one of the things that I say, and it's weddings are one of the biggest contributors to the creative economy. When you see the people who landed, when you just look at that fashion, can you imagine how many families that wedding actually fed? And when they landed there, when you look at the caterers, the money they left in the local economy, it's amazing.
And
Yes.
you see for Bolo, all the fashion went to him.
You could say that, but it's not an example of all the weddings. It's an example of how actually we can do things. That big weddings, which happen to be done by really people who have money, it's important they actually even do
Spend the money,
destination
yes.
Kenya. Spend
Yeah,
the money.
spend money.
If you have the money, because you redistribute this income.
Yeah.
It's really important to the artists, to the
Performances,
economy,
yeah.
to everybody who is there. So we have to encourage. And it's one of the biggest all over the world. Weddings are worth almost $400 billion.
I get you. And
That's the value.
But-
No,
but
no,
you know
let me finish.
Go ahead.
But on term of when people talk about whether people will separate or not, I get it that weddings have become really important show-offs. People are using it to signal their status
Yeah.
a lot by the products, the brands they are consuming,
People.
and all that, and the people to just show, to signal. And people usually, especially in Kenya, people are tending to spend money that they don't have. Sometimes people are even taking loans, they are pressurizing other people to pay for them. And so what happens is that when you spend all the money that you have, or even you get a loan, what happens is that you are left, perhaps you haven't built yourself. You don't have a house you're living in, you don't have the resources, you don't have all that. So it puts pressure on the newly married couple, and money is the biggest source of divorce.
separation.
And that's why the bigger people spend the money. If they had not planned themselves well, as a couple, they find themselves in trouble.
Yeah.
And they have to separate.
And
You see, CEO forgot to mention Akothe's wedding as a big wedding.
But he never attended it. That's what
Akothe wedding, I didn't attend, but Akothe told me in her interview the other day, I actually hosted her last week, and she said she called her a premature wedding, quoting her.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Sometimes. you have
But
to
it was a wedding.
It was, yeah.
Was it so the separation? Was it part of,
but
because
but-
it was so big, they spent so much money?
I get you.
Was that?
But there's something that you realize that in Bolo's wedding, they stayed together for 9 years.
Yes.
So they had already built.
And
a
they have
place.
2 kids together.
But you see, most of these young people, they just do a wedding when they are young, so they are starting to establish themselves. It will be a shame if you've spent that time, you've not established your life, and then you're doing a big wedding.
Yeah.
But for these others who are like starting, you start, just do something you can afford. At that time, you will do a big anniversary, like Simon has said, so that you can at least have money to survive. Leave a home, maybe get a place for yourself. Yeah, that is a good thing.
Even speaking about marriages, you know, when it comes to marriages, even wives have to also look at situations and say, you know what, sometimes when you marry your husband, you have to do some adjustments in the house. For example, let me tell you the story of sometimes a lady, there was a clip on social media of a lady saying in Swahili that, you know, her husband, you know, even if my husband, you know, when I get a housemate, I have to make sure that I get a housemate who does not at all look anything like my husband's type. You know, someone who looks like nothing, like a traditional Kikuyu on the back. Exactly.
Like a
Because he knows,
tractor.
yeah, yes, exactly. So the whole idea is, and at the same time, he doesn't. He likes light skin or dark skin. I can't remember. So she makes sure that she strategizes about her husband's needs and wants and desires, and makes sure that she gets the right kind of housemate, so that the husband does not even step out. Before I say my little piece quickly, but because I have something I want to say real quickly, I want to hear what are your thoughts and what adjustments have you guys made for the sake of catering to your man, because you guys are married. Let's go.
First of all, these men change their local cuisine so fast. Like
Sometimes
today,
you dabble internationally.
today they'll be into ugali, tomorrow they'll be into rice. So you changing and saying that their taste and all that, that's not working. Because you find that if someone loves this kind of ladies at that time, you'll see something else and then they will love. That's okay. Actually, part of the reason why I feel like this lady should not say that is, if a man wants to cheat, he doesn't need to look for that cheating in the house. If he wants to cheat. For those who go as low as cheating in the house, okay, let's start with that first of all, is a very unreasonable, stupid man, because there's no way you do something where you know very well that I share the house with this woman. Why am I going to start parading my sins just here in the house? It's actually lowering your respect to the person who is supposedly taking care of your home and your children. So keep off nannies, by the way. actually. Yes, keep off nannies. Another thing is, a man does not need to be given a certain type of person for them to cheat if they wanted to cheat.
Sure.
Yes. If you think that if they told you that this is what they love just because you have it, it doesn't mean that that is what they love all the time. No. It is what they love at that particular time because you have it, this is you. So that is what I want at the moment. It's more like a man who does not know how to compliment you, so he'll be looking at you and then he'll be like, I love your eyes. Then the woman is like, I don't want anyone with my eyes to come near my husband. That's not the case. Please, just leave your peace. I always say this openly, please just leave your peace. If this man is disrespectful enough to cheat with you in the house, even if you bring 10 nannies, that is what will happen. Simon, to answer your question, there is nothing I have done. Me, I don't look for a nanny for my husband. I'm looking for a nanny to take care of my children. And to make my house, and to do chores in the house, not for my husband.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, quick one, before we come out to we got to take a quick break, but Dr. C, CEO, and me, will give our thoughts on this. Remember to keep it real right here. Keep it locked. Guy, you're back! We're back too. Exactly, keeping it real right here on Let's Be Real. And remember, we're talking about the adjustments that women make during marriages for the sake of catering to their men. Maria has never, clearly not a very interesting wife, but you.
What adjustments have I made? First of it means so that I've been with my husband for the last 30 years.
That's long.
Yeah, that's long. So I'm secure in my space, let me just say that. And yeah, obviously they have to speak English.
Meaning?
They must speak English to communicate with my husband. Yeah, so that is the one thing.
The house helps.
The house helps must speak English to be able to communicate with my husband, who is Caucasian. Number two, an adjustment I had to make very recently. He doesn't really like other people, other people just in the house, people not like even related to us and all that. So we made an adjustment, which I love. We have someone who comes in the morning and they leave in the evening.
So it's not one of those stains.
But over the years, we've always had somebody who is staying in, and he always had problems with that. Like, why are we having dinner and you have all this person, they're listening to your dinner conversations and all that. So I serve dinner, I do everything. So, but in terms of, one of the things I realized actually is employing girls in their 30s. Oh gosh, I had one. She used to dress in my things.
Hey.
Yeah, like I come home and then I find who was dressing here, where is this dress gone to the whole weekend? Then on Monday when they arrive, I find it still there. So I stayed away from employing girls in anyone below 40. I just stopped.
Interesting.
Completely. Like they would actually fit my things, they would try on, what else would they try? So I'm not, but I know a lot of people, who actually must make adjustments. Yeah. So simple things like, make your own bed. Our house is open. Things like that. Like I've not heard, but I understand why this lady would say, you like get the
opposite.
Confuse the devil.
Yeah. I agree.
That's like giving him extra food.
I'd confuse the devil.
Confuse the devil.
Please now ask the men where the devil now.
No.
You're giving them buffet without knowing. Like, this is you giving them buffet without knowing.
Giving the buffet, what
yes, this is me now. I'm rice. Now let's bring ugali because you're not interested in ugali. This is buffet. They need everything.
CEO, what do you think?
They'll fill them in the plate.
I'm just shocked the way women think of men very lowly.
Say it again. One more time. It needs to be said.
As if men do not have a taste, men do not have a class, standard. And it's really sad. For me, what I would take from that whole conversation from that chick is that she really thinks low of the husband, very low.
But
And
we
I
agree
wonder-
there are men like that.
Yeah, we agree.
Yes.
But sometimes I think that there are people who are very respectful, even men who are very respectful, who would not indulge in such issues. And people are really struggling to look for money to feed their families.
Yeah.
90% of these men they're accusing to sleep with probably don't even get time to go to those homes because they come in late, they leave very early. And then you look at the time spent for any African man in the house, you find that there are very few hours that men spend. They come home late in the evening, eat, shower, sleep.
Often.
In the morning, they are gone. Over the weekends, they are probably going to look for their shambas and something. But there are people who have issues, who cannot see a woman pass by. But I would say many men are of right mind and right standards, and they wouldn't pick and live with women like that. But I know that women will always think that men's eyes will be roving to find something. Or sometimes you must be very careful of the woman you bring in, because some women are the ones who make these moves to those men. We've never listened to the men's side of the story, maybe, because you find that if they are trying your clothes, they will even try to get that husband as well.
Very much so.
Isn't it? So you must always make that demarcation and say, don't step here.
I agree with you. Even add on to this.
So let me add something else.
What's it?
Kidogo too, they must be bigger than me. Like 4 times bigger than me.
I see what you mean, though. But here's one thing. Here's something I saw this message from this lady.
Yeah.
As a lady, I kind of viewed it in a positive slight light, in the sense that this is a lady who's actually catering to her man and making adjustments necessary to her man, because she's aware of this during the duration of time that they have stayed with. That's why even she said that she doesn't adjust or even make any catering to a man, I'm worried about your husband, because men, I'll tell you, get into relationships in which you're catered to, because you also need to be appreciated. You should not be getting into relationships in which you are always the one making adjustments yourself to cater only to the woman at the same time, because we always have to make adjustments based on even income, place of living, whatever, all these adjustments that we have to constantly make even as a man. And yet you have to also realize that the women also need to make adjustments that are necessary for the relationship to continue. That is a very important key aspect, especially even as a man. Go where you actually appreciate it, and you can see that indeed there's an active steps to cater to you, for you to actually be able to survive within the relationship. And the other thing about even bringing in a lady that's out of the taste, whether I'll even step out or not, a man stepping out or not will just depend solely on how he's treated by his wife, even a lot of times. That's a majority of the things. A lot of the responsibility is usually now, even when it comes to relationships, the stepping out aspect is always like thrown onto like the man is the only one. But there are many ladies out here even stepping out at the same time, because because even in-house the things are not even aligned up properly. So all these adjustments that this lady is making and saying that I would do this for my man, she's actively making choices for the sole purpose of continuation of the relationship. So I see it from a positive aspect, because she's saying that she knows her man. You see how she's speaking from, I know my man, and I know these are his vices. I know my man, I know drinking are his vices. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure that he's not in that situation, especially within the house. Outside there, I don't have power. But inside the house, guess who has the power? The woman. As you have said right here, very interestingly, see, I just said the man leaves the house 6 a.m., comes back late. Who is the CEO of that house? The woman. So all of the intrigues that happen within that house come from the woman, who actually controls the intricate details of what happens within that house. So her making adjustments for the man to thrive within the house and act accordingly for the sole purpose of that relationship to thrive, that is a woman who's thinking and putting the relationship ahead of her own ego.
I'm putting the relationship ahead in so many other ways. Vetting nannies is not one of them.
Why not? See, that's you. That's your head. You don't take that responsibility? But anyway.
I'm already responsible
Maria,
for so many
Maria,
things.
But I'm just one. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What are you
And
wondering?
I'm just wondering if my husband was like to bring for me
A competition.
this charming, like
Shamba boy.
there are some things that could just honestly be tempting.
Yeah,
This charming man, whatever, like,
Yeah.
you know, one who could just engage you in talk. You can just sit there sipping your
But
glass
we-
of wine, and he's
Samantha's
just
would you like that?
No,
But-
if he was, surely, how
But
would he
listen.
be secure?
But you women like more money. So that man he's there, he has no money. No one will look at him.
No, but you see, the thing is,
And you know, the thing with
maybe
men
you
is they're
just like
wasting
his
money.
company. Maybe you just like his company. I mean,
These
there's nothing.
women don't like anything
No,
beyond
I
money.
don't think partners,
Yeah.
husbands and wives, partners, whatever, they shouldn't tempt each other.
Yes.
And so this woman is right. Do not tempt your husband. Men
But
are
you know-
men. Men are just men. At the end of the day, they are
Men
just
are just
men.
men.
And that's a,
Yes.
that's a positive thing. That's not a negative thing.
Yeah, it's not a negative thing. So we are saying, men,
No, we
yeah, they
are-
are.
men
They
are men.
are.
No, but also
They are.
men are men,
Yes.
but men have standards.
Yes.
Not
I
every
don't know.
man
You know,
has
no, no.
standards.
I need to talk about the standards issue.
Talk about it.
You know, things like cleaning homes, and you know, I have had situations where my home manager sometimes is even earning more than some people in my office, and the way, because they're managing my home. You understand? So it's I would like them to take on a job the way, you know, nursing is a job. You know, the job of just caregiving and looking after homes. These are proper jobs. So the fact that you're a nanny or you are a home manager, what we call them like that, some people call them housemaids, doesn't mean your job is low. And it doesn't decrease your humanity.
Or even humanity overall.
Humanity or your femininity, it doesn't. So the fact that your husband may actually find, or you a man, you may actually find that lady attractive, it doesn't mean his standards are low.
No, it's not about.
Yeah.
You know, they're
Just
also-
because of what they are doing, it doesn't make them degrading in any way. So let's not degrade this
So
job.
don't bring a
I
woman
would,
with high
I would
standards.
say it's not class. I would say it's more of respect, because you see now you have to respect the woman you married who lives in that home with you, for you to just tell yourself, okay, she's here. Let me not cross the boundaries.
Or what's the other story that you had in mind?
Okay, so the other story. Now you're going on is it later? Actually, it's not later.
Why?
So, it's quite unfortunate that right now being a critic of the government is very wrong. It's actually not supposed to happen because, okay, I'm not saying that it's a critic of the government, but why is it that the people that are missing, disappearing, others even found dead? And this is a topic that people, maybe we don't talk about it enough, because I feel like this has become a trend now. You find that you are missing, they died. And is it that we are not supposed to critique the government, or we are not supposed to speak our truth, or we are supposed to get regulations on what we blog, share, or talk out here, or is just a matter of having a public opinion or democracy not there anymore? Simon, what do you think?
First of all, the incompetence of right now this government is showing like plain nudes, like out here in the public. Right now, impeachment is going on as we speak at this moment in time, and at the same time, it's the actions of even abducting people turns them into heroes. For example, what happened to Morara? He is right now, being very honest, he has registered a political party in Jet. And at the same time, he's actually built some level of momentum to the extent that some people are actually starting to see him as a future presidential candidate in that aspect of things. Solely because the government literally went out of its way and through people who purport to be police officers saying that they actually now got him and they put him even in DCI Kiambu Road, and then now all that transporting left, right, and center, all this movement literally now transfers, it makes now other people, those people who are actually now persecuted, it raises their social currency and now puts them at a higher, right now Morara is at a higher political bandwidth than he was before. Before even now he's expanded, even was able to host a whole political conference outside archives, just right outside there after he was released. That is very but I also recognize that the government lacks ingenuity in communication and creating a narrative. The government is using the old traditional of like threaten, fear to now reduce the voice of the people that he views as these are the people who are going against what we like. Counter narratives are more effective if they're communicated more, much better. Why are you not even building a counter narrative or even a certain angle, or not only just bringing up even other stories? For example, we all know the impeachment, why that is. Kenyans can see right through it. And the Kenyan government lacks any ingenuity, especially the communications aspect. Those guys in the communication government offices, you're doing a very pathetic job because you're actually not creating a proper counter narrative to anybody who's actually coming up against the government, and you're not, and you're just busy focusing on using the police as an abduction thing, or even to threaten them, hence using fear as the main thing, or even try to use even KRA or other things to hinder people from progressing in business, or even using other means of even abductions that have been happening. Many people were protesting back in June. Some of them are not even being found. And that now, what it does, it vilifies you, and people will not forget. People will not forget, and people are thinking that Kenyans will forget. People will not forget when it comes that time when you need something from the people. The government right now can and will ignore us shouting because they now know they're just going to put on a charade that you can and will maybe impeach even the deputy president. As if that's really going to be any action. It's just going to be a lot of public participation. Hey, look at us, we're transparent. They're going to transfer this thing and start saying that we were open and transparent. You did not see when we were doing this public participation with for the deputy president. We are very open. That's the foolish narrative that they're pushing out there, and Kenyans are not really consuming it anymore. Honestly, Kenyans are wiser and they're smarter. The Kenyan communications is still stagnant and foolish and playing the old cards of fear and trying to do pop up other stories. Build up proper counter narratives. Be smarter now. Come on. You're claiming that you went to school. Wow.
Okay. This issue is so tiring.
You're meant to be tired. We give up.
No, what I just mean, it's an issue that is tiring in the sense that, yeah, what you're saying is true. There's been a lot of those reports. There's many things that are not going well, and I think the information is out there in the public.
All right.
That's what you want to say?
That's all beyond your money, Uncle. Too.
So now, sometimes I always say that we've read before that revolution eats its own children. And if you look at this regime which came into power, it styled itself as church-friendly, youth-friendly, and also hustler-friendly. And they used the 1786 French Revolution theories, where they thought that they can move with the masses, but they were not with the masses. So they have left the masses, and they have turned on the same people who they were building to change their narratives. And that narrative is where now there's a problem. But if you look at the last 1 year, what has happened in the Republic is that they are trying to create divisions, and the divisions they're creating so that they can, I always say this government is a dealership, is a deal government, because if you look at the many things which are happening, you do not change the university funding model. In the same year, you change the social health model. In the same year, you want to change the people who will run your airports, your electricity, your energy. That's a dealer. That's not a business person. That's a dealer. So we elected dealers who are busy dealing. And for them to thrive and to strike those deals without the prying eye of the media, you create counter-narratives. And the best counter-narrative to create is, first of all, abduct, maim, and disappear of young people so that the people will be looking at these young people all over, yet there's a lot of things happening on this side. Then also create an impeachment. Now, in Central, there were some friends of mine who were singing this song. Togo kiratene, Togo kiratene, Togo kiratene, Togo kiratene. They woke up very early in the morning to elect who? I will not finish. But what I remember is that there's a story we call the fight of the Kilkenny cats. The Gachagua Ruto fallout is the fight of the Kilkenny cats.
Kilkenny cats.
Yes.
Okay.
What are those?
In old Britain, there were two cats which were tied to fight on a line. And the two cats fought until only their tails remained.
Ooh.
That was a good fight.
So now, what has started in this regime is the fight of the two Kilkenny cats. I do not know which tails will remain up.
Does Gachagua have the power to fight? And the muscle?
Remember that already you are the deputy president. You can turn this narrative and say you are being persecuted. People love underdogs.
That's what
I was beginning to actually love him until I realized, oh my God, this has nothing to do with me. This has something to do with their arrangements, whatever.
Yeah, people love
Leave
underdogs.
me out of it.
People love underdogs, and when you take it to the public arena will construe it differently. But my problem with this regime is that they should stop maiming, killing the youth. They can do all their shenanigans. If they want to rob, they can rob whatever they want to rob. But leave the young people to stand on their principles, their ideals, and their change management. Because that's what the young people are yearning for. And all over the years, in the 90s, of course, there were people like GPU, there are people like Karim Ndodo who died. There are people like Solomon Muruli who died. There are people like Tito Adungosi who died when they were young because of trying to change this country, to enjoy what we are enjoying. There are young people like GPO Ulu and Oscar Kingara who were passed on. These are young legends who sat and said they'd rather die to change this country to where it is today. It is wrong for a government to be abducting and killing its people.
all in the what you could name of like some weird little keeping peace or
it's
something.
wrong.
Keeping the status quo. That is actually very, very wrong. And they're gonna learn this because voices are rising up.
Yeah.
And they have to learn this because now the key thing is we can sit here and say that it's wrong and everything, but the government will actually learn this through action when they come, because eventually they want something from you. Because you know what you have. You have a vote and you have a voice and you are a Kenyan. So don't think that you're just going to be persecuted here for all your life. Where? We're coming for you guys.
But I'm sorry for everyone who's lost a loved one through all this, and for everyone's career that has been shattered because you are speaking your truth. I'm really sorry.
And for people whose businesses are really down because
And
the
ruined.
economy ruined, literally, like
This is a
ruined.
dealership. Yeah. It's been real, ladies and gentlemen. It has been real, and we've said it the way it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is the biggest show. It's the biggest conversation. Let's be real. Everyone, cheers.
Cheers.
See you next weekend.
Hey,
To
yeah.
Samantha wine.
Hey, on a happy note.
Yeah.
Samantha Wines, now available in all the leading wine stores.